Have you ever heard of a weapon that doesn't fire bullets but can stop a ship in its tracks? It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's a real piece of technology used by the U.S. Navy. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating and intense naval encounter between the United States and Venezuela, where a device known as a sonic shield played a crucial role. So, what exactly happened? The incident we're talking about involved the U.S. Coast Guard cutter James and a Venezuelan patrol boat, the Naiguatá. This wasn't just a random meeting at sea. It was part of a major counter-narcotics operation in the Caribbean. The U.S. had deployed naval assets to the region to intercept drug trafficking routes, and tensions were already high. Let's set the scene. Picture the vast blue expanse of the Caribbean Sea, a notorious corridor for smugglers. The U.S. Coast Guard cutter James, a modern and highly capable vessel, was on patrol. They identified a Venezuelan Navy ship, the Naiguatá, and suspected it of illicit activity. The American crew attempted to communicate and board the Venezuelan vessel for inspection, following standard maritime protocols for such operations. But the crew of the Naiguatá didn't comply. Instead, they took aggressive action. According to reports, the Venezuelan ship attempted to ram the U.S. Coast Guard cutter. This is an incredibly dangerous maneuver at sea. A collision between two large vessels can cause catastrophic damage, injuries, and even sink a ship. The captain of the James had to think fast to de-escalate the situation and protect their ship and crew without firing a single shot. This is where the sonic shield comes into play. The correct term for this device is a Long Range Acoustic Device, or LRAD. It's not a shield in the traditional sense, but it's a powerful tool for communication and crowd control. An LRAD can project a highly focused beam of sound over long distances. It has two main functions. First, it can be used as a powerful loudspeaker, allowing the crew to broadcast clear, verbal warnings that can be heard over the noise of engines and crashing waves, even from hundreds of meters away. This is crucial for hailing a non-compliant vessel and ensuring instructions are understood. But the LRAD has a second, more forceful function, the deterrent tone. This is an incredibly loud, piercing sound designed to be unbearable for anyone in its path. It causes discomfort and disorientation, making it impossible for people to continue what they are doing. The goal is not to cause permanent harm, but to make the targeted individuals want to get away from the sound as quickly as possible. It's a non-lethal way to enforce a standoff distance and deter an aggressor. In this confrontation, the U.S. cutter likely used the LRAD to warn the Naiguatá and then, as the Venezuelan ship became more aggressive, deployed the deterrent tone to disrupt its crew and prevent the ramming attempt. Imagine being on the receiving end of that, an ear-splitting noise that rattles your senses and makes it impossible to concentrate. This non-lethal pressure gave the American crew a critical advantage, allowing them to control the situation without escalating to deadly force. So why did Venezuela react so aggressively? At the time, political tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela were at an all-time high. The U.S. government did not recognize the legitimacy of Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, and had imposed heavy sanctions on the country. From the Venezuelan perspective, the presence of U.S. warships so close to their coast was seen as a provocative act and a threat to their national sovereignty. The Venezuelan government claimed their ship was on a routine patrol in their own waters when it was approached by the imperialist U.S. vessel. They argued that the U.S. cutter was the aggressor. The Venezuelan Ministry of Defense released a statement accusing the U.S. ship of acting in a cowardly and criminal manner. So we have two very different stories from each side, which is common in these kinds of international incidents. One side claims a legitimate counter-drug operation, while the other claims a violation of sovereignty. The most surprising part of this whole story is what happened next. After attempting to ram the much larger and more robust U.S. Coast Guard cutter, the Venezuelan patrol boat, the Naiguatá, suffered catastrophic damage. It began taking on water and eventually sank. That's right, the ship that initiated the aggressive maneuver ended up at the bottom of the Caribbean. The U.S. cutter, built for tough conditions, sustained only minor damage, like scratches to its paint. In a remarkable turn of events, the U.S. Coast Guard crew, after being attacked, remained on the scene and, following maritime tradition, offered assistance to the Venezuelan sailors in the water. They rescued all 44 crew members of the sunken Naiguatá. This highlights the professional conduct of the Coast Guard, who shifted immediately from defense to search and rescue. So to recap the why, the U.S. Navy, or in this case the Coast Guard operating alongside the Navy, used a sonic device not to capture, but to defend against an aggressive ramming attempt by a Venezuelan naval vessel. A sonic shield, or LRAD, was a non-lethal tool to de-escalate a dangerous situation and protect the American ship and its crew. It allowed them to enforce their position without resorting to cannons or missiles, which would have had devastating and politically explosive consequences. This incident is a perfect example of modern naval encounters, where technology, international law, and geopolitics all collide on the high seas. Non-lethal weapons like the LRAD are becoming increasingly important for navies and coast guards around the world. They provide a critical intermediate step between shouting warnings and opening fire, giving commanders more options to handle tense situations. They can disperse pirates, control crowds during rescue operations, and deter aggressive vessels, all while minimizing the risk of casualties. The story of the USCGC James and the Naiguatá is a testament to the complex challenges faced by sailors today. It shows how a well-trained crew using advanced technology can navigate a hostile encounter, defend their vessel, and even end up rescuing their attackers. It's a wild story that feels like it belongs in a Hollywood movie, but it really happened in the waters of the Caribbean. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into military and historical events. Let me know in the comments what you think about the use of non-lethal weapons like the LRAD. See you in the next video.